Hi, welcome. Thank you all for being here today. There we are. Okay. Well, our webinar topic is the future is yours. And, I just wanted to take a few minutes and tell you that a lot of you know me as a financial planner, and that is my profession. I absolutely love it. Um, my goal there is to help people get financially confident during their second 50 years because most people will stop working during their second 50. And I do think that's the foundation of having a really great future. However, over the last 5 years, I have really come to understand that we are entering a transformational time in history. I joined a couple of global groups about 3 years ago and started studying advanced technology and some science. And I just decided, wait, there is just so much more to getting prepared for a really brilliant second 50. And so we started the second 50 movement. And I wanted to explain, because people ask me all the time, what in the world is a movement? So this is really about a community that we have developed. We have been curating, researching, developing tools and resources, getting collaborations with experts, some of whom you will meet today, to put together a package where you could actually join a community and have access to all of this. And the reason we're doing it again is because those of us in our second 50, and I don't care if you're 50 and still raising a family, or if you are 90 and in a wheelchair, you in your second 50 are going to have the opportunity unlike any other time in history. So three things in particular. One, artificial intelligence, and two, longevity science are going to be reshaping our futures. And I wanted to say that most of us have heard about AI and are feeling a little bit scared. We got together with Christine Rivett, and she's here today. She and her partner, Tom Lambot, and our team developed this, what we're calling an AI workshop series, the Second 50 AI workshop series. And we did a pilot launch in August. And we got such great comments. People walked away, I firmly believe, with real results. And Christine is going to talk to you in a little bit and share some of that with you. That's one of the programs that's available as a member of the Second 50 movement community. I'm going to share just quickly. When I took this program, I had already been using AI for over 2 years. I walked away with things that it just blew me away. And the one that I really recognized changed my life was something called the 3 experts. So anyway, Christine will talk to you. I wanted to share that even I, who thought I knew so much, recognized that I didn't after taking this workshop. So today's session, we are going to have 4 people that I still can't believe some of them are collaborating with us because they are exactly who I believe you need to meet. So the first one is Rex Paris. He is a longtime mayor of Lancaster. He is a brilliant and still practicing trial attorney. He has a very successful law firm in California, but he's also a futurist. So he is involved in research. He is contributing to research. He is participating in all of the things that the movement, the Second 50 movement, is about. It's about the future and what's coming. So I asked him to be here. He was the very first member of the movement. And just to give you a few words about what he's doing. And then Brian Van Weele. So he is a vice president and chief philanthropic officer at the Buck Institute of Aging. That is, I believe, the oldest institute studying the biology of aging in the country. It's just remarkable what they're doing with longevity science. And he is going to share a couple of insights because I want you to feel a lot more hopeful and excited about the future after listening to him. And then next up will be Christine Rivett. So she is, as you know, our AI accelerator and strategist, and she is the one leading the trainings that we offer through the Second 50 movement. Christine is also life-changing, and I think has a wonderful she has a wonderful way of talking about AI. So I don't think you'll feel confused. I think you'll be excited after listening to her. And then lastly, Daniel Burrus. So he is going to be our keynote speaker today. And Daniel is a globally recognized futurist. So he has been a strategic advisor to Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft and Google. And what he did, he took an interest in what we're doing with the Second 50 movement, and he has developed a customized program for our community that is for our age group. And it's all about helping us get prepared for the future and managing fear. So he will be talking to you today as well. And I'll kind of give you an overview of the flow. Rex will come on first with a few minutes. Brian will give us 10 minutes on what's something interesting from the Buck Institute and what the Buck is. Christine will give you 10 minutes on AI and just some very simple concepts, and I hope some ideas that will get you interested in the workshop. And then Daniel on future thinking, because the next 5 years, as I said, that's going to be transformative, and it's scary. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of volatility. And with the huge amount of global connectivity, it just keeps going on and on and on. Daniel can help reframe your thinking, and he has an unbelievable program as well. So I just wanted to mention again that the programs that they developed for us, they are only through membership through the Second 50 movement. They put a lot of time and effort, as have we, on making them appropriate for our age group. So I'm going to give you a shameless plug at the end of this session and say, please join us. We have some special offers. We'll talk a little bit about that right at the end. Okay. So we are ready to get started. And Rex, I'll let you go ahead and give us your comments.
It's interesting that it's hard for me to dive into this because there are so many things that are happening that you could spend a week on each of them. And I'm 73 years old, and I'm busier now than I've ever been in some respects. And the thing that I recognized was that being 73, my bandwidth isn't what it used to be, but my experiential level is more than it's ever been. And now with AI, I find that I have become incredibly efficient because I don't have to spend all the time doing the research. I do the basic outline, put it in, and then I rework it. There are so many things you can do now with the experience level you have and with the bandwidth that's available to us. One of the things I'm doing in the city is we passed an ordinance that if you're over 70, you can take any drug you want that has been through phase 1 trials. Now, there's challenges in being able to do that, but I think I've slowly gotten to the point now we're ready to launch it. Because I have no doubt in my mind that in the labs today, there are sufficient resources to extend our life 20, 30 years. No doubt in my mind whatsoever. A lot of it I'm taking in myself already. The other day I was in a trial and I was down on my hands and knees because the witness was lying, and I wanted to show he was lying. So I did a first person and walked through it with him. The reason I'm telling you this story is because several people in the courtroom were astonished that I was able to get down and up without, any problems whatsoever. And then it occurred to me that, yeah, I guess most 73-year-olds have trouble getting up off the floor. I'm excited about what Kathleen is doing simply because I think we can develop a program. I funded the USC Longevity Accelerator, and it's all coming together now. Not only are we going to live longer, we're going to be smarter. I think we're this close to solving dementia. In fact, I think it's solved in the labs. The what we can do now is just astonishing. And one of the things I'd like to leave everybody with is, we have to break the models and do it differently. We are so accustomed to the idea that it starts out in Washington, then it goes down to the states, and then it goes down to the counties and then the cities. Well, you know how long that takes? Anything that's new and great takes forever. But every one of us could reach into our city local government. And if you do it from the bottom up, I'm finding very little resistance, almost no resistance. We could reweave this country in some really dynamic ways. And this is going to be fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. Exactly my sentiments. Uh, Next up, we're going to I'm introducing Brian Van Weele. As I told you, he is the Vice President and Head of Philanthropy at the Buck Institute on Aging. World-class scientists and doctors are working at the Buck Institute. So I will let Brian take it from here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kathleen. And let me just get my thing going here. All right, great. Well, I'm very excited and delighted to share some of the work that we're doing here at the Buck and some of the updates, and clearly also just to kind of dovetail with what Rex was saying, two things. One is we absolutely believe there's 20 to 30 years of health span on the table right now. And we also believe that AI, big data, and data analysis, multi-omic studies are going to get us there much faster. And some of these solutions are actually within reach. So I think this will be kind of fun to share a little bit of where we are. So my name is Brian Van Weele, and I'm at the Buck. The Buck is located in Northern California, and we have about 250 scientists studying the biology of aging from every aspect possible. We were the world's first independent institute to focus solely on aging, and we opened our doors in 1999. So we have about 26 years of basic fundamental biology on aging that we're applying to some of these real world solutions. And so this is really the focus of the Buck. And it's while longevity is critical and important, we really are about health span, and we're really about looking at how can we compress the years of morbidity, which really are the years that you're dealing with one or more of the chronic conditions associated with aging. So today you can kind of see where we are. About if you look population, and actually even worldwide. We begin to experience some of these chronic conditions from Alzheimer's and dementia and osteoarthritis, osteoporosis and obesity and type 2 diabetes and you name it, loss of muscle, sarcopenia. Typically, when we get into that last phase of our last chapters of our life, starting at 65, and many of us experience about a 20% of our life dealing with these conditions. And when we think of longevity, we tend to think of, well, I don't really want to get super old because I don't want to have to deal with these conditions. And so the when you really think of longevity, we think of it as a combination of lifespan, the number of years you've lived and are on the planet, and health span, the percentage of those years that you are in good health. And that's our goal. Our goal is to extend that health span period and to compress that period where you're dealing with some of the chronic conditions associated with aging and maximize those years of health and vitality and purpose for as long as you can. And that really is what all of our researchers are focusing on. And it's super important because, as it turns out, when you look at all those chronic conditions, the number one risk factor for all of them is aging itself. These are conditions that the risk of having to face and deal with these conditions increases exponentially with age. And so the premise of the Buck and the premise of kind of the geroscience approach is that if we can actually understand how to age better, biologically, molecularly, at the cellular level, we actually could simultaneously improve our risk of getting any and all of these conditions. And so that's really what we're trying to focus on. So instead of taking a siloed approach to each disease, we're looking at the root level, trying to deal with what is causing these conditions in the first place and seeing if we can intervene at that level. And so you might have seen these hallmarks of aging. The field has identified these different kind of pathways into biological aging that influence accelerated aging and lead to some of these chronic conditions. And as it turns out, as we dysregulate in all these different areas, they actually lead to these chronic conditions. And I was mentioning about 93% of adults 65 or older in the US have at least one chronic condition, and 79% have two or more. It's just astounding numbers. I will say, and I think just to say what Kathleen was, the hope aspect of this, the good news is there really is the health span is something we can intervene. There's behavioral interventions and there's pharmacological interventions that really put health span closer at hand for us. And we can actually start pushing back these chronic diseases as we get older. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Our evolution of the buck for the first 26 years, we've been focused completely on doing fundamental science at the bench and understanding and defining all the pathways and mechanisms of aging. Over the last several years, we've evolved into bringing bioinformatics, artificial intelligence, big data. We'll talk a little bit about that. I want to share some of the recent breakthroughs. And then we've taken a large investment and direction in actually doing human clinical trials here at the Buck. So we started about 3 years ago. We have about 9 clinical trials going, about 1,000 people coming in and out of the Buck, and we are testing all of the breakthroughs and discoveries that we're seeing at the bench with humans and seeing how we can intervene and improve those healthy years of life. And so in many ways, this is sort of the virtuous circle that we're looking at. We do the basic discovery research. We see how it applies to humans. We also then are bringing this into the AI machine learning world, and that's informing the discovery research. We're identifying new targets, doing a deep dive, validating the science, and bringing it back to humans. And I think this is sort of the new model, I think, for discovery research in the aging field. One big move we made is we brought 2 of the world's leaders on biological systems research, as well as AI, Dr. Lee Hood and Dr. Nathan Price to the Buck. They joined our faculty over the last couple of years, and they also wrote a great book, which I highly recommend, The Age of Scientific Wellness. And it really is this idea that personalized precision medicine is really within reach, but it needs to be driven by data. And so part of this concept of phenomic or multi-omic analysis is taking as many data points as we now can gather, which is millions from any blood sample, and using AI and big data to identify patterns and trajectories that would have taken years to figure out at the bench, and compressing that down into just days and months, and really starting to map a approach that is personalized and really precision based, because it turns out we're all very different, as we would expect, and what might work for you as an intervention for a cardiac condition or a brain condition might not work for me based on my microbiome, my genes, and all of the other factors that make us very unique people. One of the things we're working on very hard is this idea of a digital twin. So the concept here is, imagine if we can do all this deep data analysis and really profile somebody at the molecular and cellular level, including your genomics and your metabolomics and your proteomics and all of those things that are part of your system of biology that represent your own physiology, then we can actually create a digital twin, which would be super helpful from not only projecting where you're going based on your genes and your epigenetics and things like that, but also testing which medicines might work for you over others. It turns out of all the top 10 medicines that are prescribed today in the US, they're efficacious for only really 1 or 2 out of every 10 people. We have population-based studies that show that these drugs work, but we don't know if they work for you, and because you're a very unique biological system. So having these digital twins can absolutely transform our approach to creating very precise and personalized medicine for every person. And so we've built a digital twin for mice models, and they are working extremely well. And we're building those now for humans too. And so this is one of the ways that we see AI probably transforming how we practice medicine. And hopefully this information and these capabilities will become available fairly soon to practitioners and clinicians out there in the world. One of the things that also we're pretty excited about is we are competing in the X Prize Health Span. This is the $101 million really moonshot, which was based on some of the first X Prizes were around space travel and how do we get people, ordinary people, into space. And this is the health span version. 600 people applied for the competition, and they're now down to the final 40 semifinalists, and we're one of them. And we're doing the goal of the X Prize, which is again the absolutely transformative idea is, can we reverse aging by 10 years in someone with only 1 year of treatment? And so while this seems almost impossible today, the purpose and a mission of the X Prize is just to generate a wellspring of new ideas and technologies and innovations that will just move the field forward no matter what. But we actually feel we've got a really great approach. We're working with the University of Toulouse in France, and we're bringing a behavioral approach called ICOPE to our our clinics and for the trials for the X Prize, because we really do know from years and years of study that, as Rex was saying, those 15 or 20 years are on the table, and they're typically achieved through behavioral interventions and taking care of some of the low-hanging fruit, like senses and like your hearing and your sight, working on socialization and your feeling of being part of a community and having a purpose, and also working on frailty and balance and vitality, and bringing in a couple pharmacological elements like ketone esters, something that we developed here at the Buck. Part of this will come with an application that'll hopefully we'll have on people's phones in the near future. This will be a HealthSpan app that will use AI to record your movements and your emotions and your wearable data, and give you scores and also coach you on things you can do to improve your health span. And so that's coming probably in the next year. Finally, one thing that I was telling Kathleen about, we're really excited about a new direction or using voice as a diagnostic tool. It turns out that we can take voice off of an iPhone or a phone call, and through AI and through a lot of the algorithms that we've built, we can actually diagnose physical and chronic conditions almost better than taking a blood sample, which is kind of mind-boggling. But it turns out that all of the really minute elements in your voice, from pitch and jitter and shimmer, really can map very well to conditions around heart disease and diabetes and other conditions as well. And so you can imagine the promise of this, particularly when we're thinking of telehealth and the fact that there are many communities around the country and around the world that don't have access to good primary care or clinics locally. And so this could be a super low cost solution that we can deploy on a global scale for really beginning to bring better health outcomes to people. Finally, one other thing we're doing, and we're talking to Kathleen about this idea of bringing Buck information, content, and seminars to communities, and we're talking about that for the Second 50 movement as well. I think this would be something that would be kind of fun. We're packaging monthly seminars and monthly master classes on the science of the buck and making them available. One of the first areas we're working with and we've been rolling out is with senior communities around the country, life plan communities and independent living communities. But we think also groups like Second 50, people who really care about this information, want to have good science-based, evidence-based information to work with. This could be a really fun and low-cost way to stay on top. Finally, just because we were talking about it for the call, we are doing a lot of clinical trials at the Buck, as I mentioned. If anybody would like to participate or be part of our clinical trial, a future clinical trial here on aging and health span, you can use this QR code, and I'll send a link to Kathleen that she can share with everybody, but it's also on our website. But we would love to encourage people to apply for recruitment. And as new trials roll out, we reach out to people based on the criteria and the inclusion, what they're looking for the trial. So it's Usually it's not, you don't need to be here. You can be anywhere in the country. Some of those trials you need to be right here on site, but most of them you just need to have access to a blood sample. And we now can send that through the mail too, where you can actually just take a little blood sample yourself and send it back to the buck. So that's it. I just wanted to share some of the updates of what's happening here at the buck, and really how AI is really changing and driving how we approach health span and longevity.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'm sure everyone on this meeting feels as fascinated and excited as I do. Every time I talk to you, it's something new and it's awesome. Thank you again. Next up is Christine Rivett. So she is our strategic AI educator. She has been working with Tom Lambot in an extraordinary program they developed over the years. They have educated hundreds and hundreds of people. And again, we were so thrilled when they agreed to help us customize a program for the Second 50 movement for our age group. I will let her talk to you about that. Just so you know, Christine and Tom have done so much good work. They even trained some of Tony Robbins' team. So we are thrilled to have you here with us, Christine. I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm just as thrilled to be involved here with all of your movement. So I'm going to just very briefly talk about some of the things that we would do in the workshop, and also tell you a little bit about the last workshop that we had, which was our initial one. It was really exciting, and I've shared this with Kathleen, I was very nervous about doing it because I had so many super successful people in it, but I thoroughly enjoyed working with each and every one of them. So to start off, I just want to tell just very briefly a little bit about what is a prompt. I know a lot of people, when they hear AI, they're worried about making sure that the prompt is exact. Most people think prompts have to follow a formula, and that's not true at all. You don't need to be a prompt engineer or memorize the structures. What a prompt is simply how you communicate with ChatGPT. The goal isn't to sound technical, it's to give enough context and background so it can actually help you. Imagine sitting at a conference table with a coworker or your spouse or partner or whoever. And before you can contribute to the project, you have to explain the details to them, right? What's going on, what's been done, what you need to do. That's how you should treat ChatGPT or any AI tool. The more context you give it, the more helpful it becomes. Don't just type. And this is something that I share in the very first session. Talk to it like a teammate. Talk to AI. It's going to want to give you the best results possible, and you're going to get better results by talking to it. So just do it just like a teammate who you want to do great work together, but they don't really know what the whole project's about. So you're going to give it that context. So that's really what a prompt is. Just think of it as context instructions. The next item that a lot of people talk about is, what is a custom GPT thing that I hear about? Well, it's kind of like building your own mini program inside ChatGPT. It remembers your preferences. It remembers your tone, the background you otherwise would have to repeat to it every single time you start working with AI. So think about it like this. If you're always asking for a recipe, ideas that fit your keto diet, you want to avoid nuts, you never want to include cilantro or maple syrup, you don't want to explain that every single time. So a custom GPT keeps that context for you. It's also powerful for writing in your own voice. And one big complaint that people have with ChatGPT is it sounds too generic, right? They tell it to help me write an email, and it sounds like every other email. Well, that's because if you don't train ChatGPT to write in your voice, your tone, your style, it's going to have the same output for every single person. So again, in that very first session that we have, I show you how to build your own custom GPT to write in your voice. And it's going to write anything for you. It can write emails, it can write articles, presentations, and it's going to sound like you. And that's the difference. So instead of reteaching ChatGPT every time, a custom GPT is a tool that it already knows you, it already knows your goals. So it becomes truly useful. Just before the session today, I was telling Kathleen about a custom GPT I built, and she asked me to share it with every one of you. I have struggled for years with my weight. I've tried every single app out there. I've tried every single diet out there, but my doctor a holistic doctor has worked with me and identified a couple of things that he felt would work for me, but I couldn't find something that out there that was existing that I felt comfortable using and that I would stick with. So I was very frustrated one Friday evening, talking to my husband, and all of a sudden I realized, Christine, you do AI, build your own. So I built my own custom GPT. I call it Christine's Health Coach. And I told it how many calories a day I wanted to eat. Told it I am following a keto diet. I told it I was going to fast from 8 p.m. till 2 p.m. every day. So I only eat between 2 and 8. I only eat one main meal and one snack. I fed it all of this stuff, but I also told it I needed it to be supportive of me. I needed it to coach me, not just give me facts. I needed it to remind me why I'm doing this. So I built the custom GPT. And one thing I shared with her is the week after that, my husband said to me, hey, I want to go see my sister-in-law for her birthday, and let's go eat at Chipotle before on our way. So it's quick. And I'm like, that doesn't fit in my plan, right? So I opened up my health coach, my custom GPT, and told it what was going on. I didn't just say, hey, I'm going to go to Chipotle and eat. What should I eat? I said, this is what's happening. This is why I want to eat there, because I want to have time with my husband. I still want to stick to my plan. What do I do? What do I eat? And it told me exactly what I could eat there so that I would stick with the plan. And it not only told me what I could eat, it also said, this is okay to go off of your diet a little bit, or your not diet, but life plan, because you're getting the benefit of spending the time with your husband too. So it does exactly what I want because it's specific to me, what I needed, what I have, what I wanted to follow. So that's the benefit of AI, especially with a custom GPT. Darwin wasn't talking about technology here, but he might as well have been talking about this moment in our journey. The question is, are you still that person who responds to change? Are you still curious enough to explore what's possible? Because that's all this is. AI isn't asking you to become someone different. It's asking you to stay exactly who you've always been, someone who sees an opportunity in change and moves forward, not away from it. So in the very first sprint we had, when these folks joined the sprint, they weren't techies, they weren't curious, or they were curious, sorry, but they were skeptical, right? What is this AI stuff? Is it safe? They were open to change, and what happened next surprised them, and really it surprised me. As I shared at the very beginning, I was nervous working with these amazingly successful people who I come to really admire and consider friends now. So most AI tools treat everyone the same. That's why it feels robotic. It's not trained to think like you or speak like you. But with the AI workshop that we're doing with Kathleen and the Second 50 movement, we don't teach prompts. We introduce a way to use AI that amplifies your focus, and it starts with your voice and expands how you think and make decisions. So again, people say AI, it's generic. I can't use it. I don't want anybody to know I'm using AI, right? One story that I'll share with you is that Tom Lambot, who is our founder of AI Simplifier, he was talking to a friend of his from Strategic Coach, And this person says to him, well, AI is great, but I don't use it to write my articles. I write every single article that I post on LinkedIn myself. And he's like, yeah, they're great articles. I love them. And but he then says to her, have you ever read my articles? And she's like, oh yeah, they're great. I love them. I don't miss one. Because, well, every single article is written by AI. She's like, you're kidding me. And it's because he uses the voice bot that I show you how to build so that it's trained in his voice. It's trained in his tone. It's trained using the words that he uses, but it's also trained not to sound like AI, not to be robotic, not to use, I hope this email finds you well, right? How does that sound generic, boring, and plain? So if I asked ChatGPT, and I'll go back to this for a minute to show you the prompt that I use, write a short email inviting clients to a new AI workshop focused on saving time and improving workflows. So I use this prompt without my bot, my voice bot, but I also then used it with my voice bot. I'm going to show you the difference. Here's the one that is generic, boring, and plain. Everybody says you want to delete it. Hi there. We're excited to invite you to our upcoming AI workshop. Learn how to save time and improve your workflows using the latest tools. Okay, I don't know about you, but when I see emails that come to me and say, I hope this email finds you well, the first thing I do is delete it because I know where it came from. And I know that that person who sent it to me put no thought into it. But if I use my voice bot to write and I give it the same exact prompt, it sounds like me. Hi, if you've been curious about using AI, but don't want to waste time learning 20 tools, this workshop's for you. In one session, we'll show you how to use AI to simplify your workflow and finally move forward to projects you've been sitting on. Let me know if you want the link. Much more engaging, much more interesting. But this isn't about writing emails or content. And that's what a lot of people think AI is for. It's about making decisions, launching ideas, and finally getting traction on things that you've been sitting on for years. One of the people that had gone through one of our courses said to us after the second session, he had this list of ideas and projects that he had been wanting to work on for years. After the second session that he had, he was able to either get through those ideas or start them and hand them off to his team because of AI. So it's not only saves time, but it's also going to make things easier and the quality better because and as I'm going to tell you in a moment, it's not just your vision. You've got the experience and the perspective of anybody in the world that you want to tap into. So as I mentioned before, the people that joined the original session, they weren't tech wins. They were life wins that they had with this session. Each person used AI to move forward on something that mattered in their second 50. And Rex was one of the people that went through my session. I've had a couple of other people that I think are in this workshop today that went through them. And again, we had huge breakthroughs, and I wanted to share one of those with you today. So Gene Rainier, Gene asked me to meet with him because he had a really good idea. It was a great idea, actually. He and his friend wanted to mentor some young dentists in their first year out in the real world, away from dental school. It was a really solid concept, but he felt kind of stuck. And here's the thing about having great ideas. We're limited to by our own perspective, and what we don't know, we don't know. So that's exactly where Gene was. We use the 3 expert mindset I teach in week 3. And what the 3 experts is, just very briefly, is tapping into that perspective and the experience and the knowledge of anybody out there that you want. So if I'm working on a project and say I'm working on, when I was working on the custom GPT that I built, I asked AI to identify the 3 best people that would be able to help me through that project. and consider it an unlimited budget because I'm not really paying them, right? So they identified the best 3 people. And those 3 experts, I didn't have to pull the books down off of the bookshelf, although I have hundreds sitting right above me always. I was able to get that information out by using AI. You can also identify who you want to work with. So oftentimes, for example, if I'm working on marketing for AI Simplifier, I know Tom has some specific ways he likes to market. So I ask him as the expert. Gene and I worked through the case. AI became his strategic thinking partner and helped me explore angles with him and his friend that we would not have thought to do. And he had a full business plan by the end of that hour. So we built this for people who want clarity, not complexity. And you would learn a repeatable approach that works with any tool, any AI tool, and any goal that you have. Remember, this isn't about tech, it's about traction. And if you're ready to move forward, I'd be happy to walk you through it.
Thank you so much, Christine. We really appreciate it. We will tell people a little bit more about the program. It is available as a member of the movement. And we're going to move on to Daniel Burrus. Daniel, as I said, he is a futurist. He's a best-selling author and a strategic advisor to Fortune 500 companies. Daniel, thank you for customizing for us, and I'll let you take it from here.
All right, great. Well, hey, we're going to spend the rest of our life in the future. Maybe we ought to think about it a little bit. Matter of fact, maybe we ought to plan for it a little bit. I know all of you have lived a successful life. What does the next 50 look like? I would like it to be a significant life. And here's the difference. Success is all about you. It's about how many degrees you have, how much money you make, how cool your car is, how nice your home is. If you're a business, it's about your revenue increases and so on. Significance, on the other hand, is not about you at all. It's about what you do for others. If you can elevate what you do for others on a daily basis, you'll find yourself far more successful. So I know we might be a successful grandparent. Are we significant? Or business person, or you fill in the blank. So I'm focusing on what can we do for others? How can we extend that out? Secondly, if you're finding looking at the future is looking pretty bad and pretty bleak, you're probably watching too much news. Remember, bad news sells, good news doesn't sell. And if there's no bad news to report, they give you the anniversary of bad news. So watch the news a little bit less. Let's talk about future view. How you view the future, to a great extent, shapes how you act in the present. Think about it a minute. Some people right now, they are buying Apple stock. Why are they doing that? Their future view Apple is good. Some people are selling their house. Why? Their future view of keeping it has changed. Some people have great employees that are planning on leaving. Why? Their future view of staying has changed. Some kids are going to college, some kids are going to drugs. Hey, it's all about future view. So here's what I would say. How you view the future shapes how you act. By the way, how you act will shape your future. Your future view will determine the future you. And I think your future view is much lower than it should be. It's based on a rear view mirror view, not a windshield view of all of the opportunities and what we can do and how much shaping we can have. Let's face it, all of us in this, we have never been more smarter than we are right now. We have more wisdom than we ever had. We want to be able to use that. So what I want us to do is to be far more anticipatory and far less reactionary. I like to think of it as an anticipatory mindset. Now, most of us in the business world have been agile, and agility came from sports. It's reacting as quickly as you can to a problem after it occurs, reacting as quickly as you can to disruption after it disrupts. The faster you can react, the better. That's agility. And I think that's good. But that's not good enough in a world where change is accelerating. What I want us to do is develop a new competency, one to be anticipatory. And what do I mean by that? how to anticipate disruptions before they disrupt. Let's make that a little bigger for you. How to anticipate problems before you have them so you can pre-solve them. How to identify the game-changing opportunities that are actionable. That's more about it. Let's face it, a lot of times you have said, well, I knew that would happen. Well, then why did you let it? That's because you couldn't trust your instinct. But what if you had a way to know whether it was accurate or not? See, we've got all this uncertainty, and uncertainty does not empower me, and it does not empower you. They say you can only be certain of death and taxes. Yet, right now it's fall. I'll predict next is winter. I'll be right. There's actually hundreds and hundreds of predictable elements to the future. Is AI going away? No, it'll get more powerful next year. By the way, that's a hard trend. Baby boomers are getting younger. No, chronologically, they will get older. That is a hard trend. So what I've started to do is to bring in some wording for you to teach you a little bit about this. And you'll notice that I'm teaching you. That's because the two most important moments in a human's life is the day you're born and the day you find out why you're born. I'm lucky I found out long ago why I was born. I was born to teach, not to tell. So I can't help myself. Sorry about that. Let's get into it. So I'm going to start with certainty in an uncertain world. You see, when you're uncertain, you hesitate, you wait, you hold back. Let's see what's going to happen. But when you're certain, you have the confidence to make a bold move. You have a confidence to move forward. So what I want to give you is the science of certainty, and that's what our customized program is for this group, is helping you to understand how to use these and how to make this work for you. So I don't want a big list of things I'm uncertain about. I'd like a list of things I am certain about. I don't want a list of things I can't do. I'd like a list of things I can do. So that is what this is about. Let me give you a very quick look at a little part of it. There's no shortage of trends. Problem is which ones will happen and which ones won't. Over decades, I've come up with a way of solving that. It's being used by the Pentagon, Google, and others. Actually, hundreds of organizations globally. It can be used by you. And that is all trends are either a hard trend based on, let's make that a little bigger for you, either it's a hard trend based on a future fact that will happen, which means it can't be changed, or it's a soft trend based on an assumption that may or may not happen. Quick example, healthcare costs have been going up in the United States for many, many years. By the way, that's a trend. I've just started teaching it to you. Is that a hard trend, meaning unstoppable, or is it a soft trend? Well, government thinks it's a hard trend, so all of the reforms is around payments. But if we realize, oh, actually, that's a soft trend. If you don't like it, you can change it. That's what I love about soft trends. And there are technologies we could use to dramatically lower healthcare costs. And by the way, some of those are being implemented as we speak. Hard trends, what do they let you see? They let you see disruptions before they disrupt. And I'm not just talking about business disruptions, career disruptions, health and lifespan disruptions. I'd like to pre-solve those problems before they happen. I would like to see those disruptions before they disrupt so I can do something about it. I would like to see the problems that I'm going to have before I have them so I can pre-solve them and move forward faster. That's part of what being anticipatory is all about. A couple of quick categories. Demographics is a hard trend category. We've got, 10,000 people turning 70 every day in this country. By the way, chronologically, hard trend. They will not get younger. They're going to get older. And we can predict a lot of problems and pre-solve them, or we can let them play out. By the way, it's a way of seeing amazing opportunity. We have, when you're talking to a kid, you may be not as relevant to them, but there's a way to be more relevant. One of the elements in my anticipatory learning system is the ability to do a time travel audit. In other words, are you from the past talking to someone from the future in their mindset? If you are, you're going to seem not very relevant. If you don't know all about the new technology, you don't have to be a technologist. You don't have to know the physics of a smartphone to use it. You have to know it exists and you have to pick it up and, hey, start talking. So there is a way for you to elevate your relevance, because today you're either going to be more relevant or less relevant. There's no middle. I want to teach you how to be more relevant to the people that you talk to, regardless of their mental time zone, whether it's past, present, or future. Just a couple of more, because we're getting short on time. These are some of the different generations, and they all use technology differently. They all access things differently. Wouldn't it be great if you knew how the different generations access and communicate? You might have a more meaningful conversation with a grandkid or a great grandkid or a child or a business person or whoever, even a spouse. There's government regulations, another category. And lastly, there's technology, another giant category. And again, it's not about being a technologist, it's more about being aware. Let's face it, last year we used AI to come up with, and this took months, by the way, the first new antibiotic in 60 years. And I could give you a long list of things that we've been doing. Actually, we're doing the impossible every day. I'm very excited about the future. And that means we need to be actively shaping it for ourselves and for others, creating a better future for ourselves and for others. And that's what being anticipatory is all about. That's what I think this group is all about. It's about helping each other. It's about sharing and learning together. It's about knowledge sharing. And it's not just about reacting to things after they happen. It's about coming up with a new way to look farther out into the future, see what's happening, take actions that you can use to create a better future for yourselves and for others. All right, and I know we're short on time. We want to have some question and answers, so I'm going to stop at this point.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. I don't know anybody that does what Daniel does. And the fact that he was able to customize this for us as a group in the Second 50 movement, it still astonishes me because it is so important. And you really will be able to manage fear and uncertainty. If anyone has any questions from the chat, I haven't really seen anything on there. We basically, what we want you to know is that this program that Daniel developed for the Second 50 movement is available to our members. And the same thing for Christine Rivett. It is so unbelievable that we have access to these experts. And then we all took the time to really make sure that what we were going to do was going to be very, very relevant for everyone who joins us. So we decided it had to be a community full of resources and tools like this. We wanted to make it available to as many people as possible. And the webinar today is just to give you exposure and help you see what we have available. That this is not a one-time thing where you come in for 60 minutes, that you can come back and you can learn more. And it's also about brainstorming and having new ideas and getting connected to people who are bigger thinkers, like all of us are. I think we all are bigger thinkers and curious, or we wouldn't be on this webinar today. So there's two things you can do. One, you can go to our website or use a code, and you can join the Second 50 movement. There's different levels of our community that you can join depending on where you wanted to start. But if you were on this recording and you are here with us today, and some people couldn't make it, but they registered, we are going to give you a complimentary month just because you're here today. So I really encourage you to register. We have an amazing starter kit that we are offering. With this free month, we're going to give you a Colby Discovery, and it's a really awesome, very science-backed short assessment. We send it to you, it takes about 15 minutes, and you send it back to us, and we deliver this report. It's not a personality profile test, it's not a leadership profile. It's genuinely something I'm pretty positive most of you have never done before. And it gives you really big insights into how you operate, how you make decisions. It's so useful. And the second thing that we do is we're offering in that month a curiosity challenge. So basically what we have done is we have designed some of those bots that Christine was talking about. And we have one that we are going to allow any of you who has an interest to use through us. So basically, send us a question, a problem, a challenge, something you're curious about, and we will explore it with our smart companion custom bot that we built for the Second 50 Movement members. And we will show you how we did that. We'll explore it and we'll send you back an answer or an idea. So I really believe that you will get a lot out of that month if you choose to join us. And then you can decide after that if you want to cancel and you don't want to participate. The second thing is, if you decide you want to purchase Daniel Burrus's custom program or the AI workshop program, either or now or both in the future, then you're automatically going to get 2 complimentary months with the same starter kit. And I can tell you that starter kit is just the beginning of what we offer in the movement community. We have a whole incredible Second 50 toolkit and a lot of resources. And again, I'm so thrilled that you're here with me today. And I hope if you feel inspired, have a little bit of interest, you will consider coming in and registering and see how you can take this to the next level. And again, I didn't see any, but if there are any questions that anyone has, feel free to put them in the chat. We have another minute or two. And if not, oh, Daniel, please go
Yeah, I
ahead.
just want to make a quick comment to everybody regarding this whole thing. If you can remember back to when you got your last degree, could have been a long time ago, it was for me, I bet you were thinking big about your future. But if you look back now, you're thinking to yourself, wow, I was thinking too small. Why? Because there was a bigger big. What's all of this about? It's not about thinking big. It's about thinking a bigger big for you and your future. That's really what all of this is about. It's about creating the bigger big so that you can do and accomplish far more. And it's not about working harder. Maybe it's accomplishing, exploring the world. Maybe it's taking vacations. Maybe it's managing your health span. Maybe it's learning to use AI. Whatever it might be, think bigger. Okay.
100%, Daniel. And also, the other idea is that we really want you to have a community. We want you to have connections, new people, new relationships, and really enjoy this time learning together, brainstorming, problem solving, sharing crises, sharing accomplishments. Because I don't know about you, but I think it's a little bit hard as you get older to find people who are still dreaming bigger and thinking bigger, as Daniel said. I think a lot of times we tend to live a little bit more in our past with our memories, enjoying our grandkids and travel. Nothing wrong with that. But I do believe that there's a place for this community in your lives if you do want to look ahead with more positivity and have more impact on your future. So thank you again so much for joining us today. We will be sending a follow-up email to everyone with links to explore the programs, to explore being a part of the movement. And again, the membership movement community is how you can access Daniel's plan and Christine's AI workshop. Thank you again for joining us.